You've beaten the trilogy, maybe replayed it a couple of times to really get your Mass Effect fix. You've even tried Mass Effect Andromeda, and maybe now you're feeling a little burnt out. Time to take a break from the Reapers? Welcome back, Commander. In this video I'll be taking a look at some other games you might want to try if you're feeling a bit of Mass Effect fatigue. Now, it would be easy just to recommend to play Dragon Age or the Witcher series, and yes, they are great alternatives, especially if you like the high fantasy setting. And Dragon Age is made by BioWare, so you know you're in safe hands. Mostly. Don't get me wrong, it has its issues, but we're not going to go into that into this video. So what other games do I recommend? Well, what I've done is I've taken an element from Mass Effect which these games have, so at least you'll find something you like about them. First on the list is Encased. This is an isometric CRPG. From Mass Effect, I've taken the sci-fi element and the party selection. Set in the 1970s, a large dome is found in the desert. Once it was discovered, a company set up to explore it. They discovered relics and strange powers, and although once you enter the dome there is no leaving, towns and road networks were soon created. People volunteered to start a new life under the dome, working for a company in recovering these relics. This is where you, the player, comes in. The company is known as Kronos, and has 5 departments, or wings as they call it. At the start of the game, you can choose which wing you want to be a part of. Each one will have its own perks. So for example, Silver Wing is management, so you get a buff to leadership and you're able to access secured files. Black Wing is security, and they start with body armor and a weapon, and there's also science, engineering and a criminal wing. That's right, if you fancy playing as a criminal, you can. They're brought in as labourers, but as you can imagine, they're not forcing you to play as a redeemed character. If you still want to be a horrible criminal, then you can. You can even set your intelligence to 0, and playing as a Thicky McThickpants will have a completely different experience than someone with a higher intelligence stat. It's a bit of a slow burn game, with an emphasis on exploration and conversation. Characters are interesting and mostly voice acted. After an hour or so, you'll have been introduced to the controls and the main story actually starts, and you're free to travel the world at your will. Combat is turn-based, and stealth comes in really handy for avoiding tough situations. You meet a wide range of characters along the way, and some will join you. You get to manage them in the same way you would as a Mass Effect companion, and they also have their own personal stories. With its lots to explore, strange goings-on, and fun engaging combat, it's definitely a game if you've got plenty of time on your hands. However, if you want something a little bit more light-hearted, then my second game recommendation is a little harder to find. But before we carry on, would you mind just giving me a boom on that like button? Okay, so moving on. This game was released in 2010. It's a third-person RPG and leans heavily on the espionage tropes. The reason why I picked this is in relation to the Mass Effect is the story element. In Mass Effect, you're given the limitations of the story, but how you move along the path is up to you. Are you a renegade shepherd happy to push someone out of a window, or would you go out your way to be a paragon and heal somebody? Well, Alpha Protocol dials that up to 10, but to experience this, you're going to need to overcome a few issues. First up, the game came out around about the same time as Mass Effect 2, but it's nowhere near as polished. The graphics haven't held up well. The combat is a little clunky and stealth is massively overpowered, and the overall story just isn't on par with Mass Effect 2. And on top of that, unless you have it already in your Steam library, it's going to be a little hard to find, as they don't actually sell it anymore. So why am I saying to play this again? Well, this game really does choice and consequence well. In fact, they based your responses on 3 characters. You have the suave response based on James Bond. You have the aggressive response based on Jack Bauer. And you have the professional response based on Jason Bourne. Characters in the game react differently based on your choice of response, and that, coupled with the freedom to take on missions in any order, means that you won't actually have the same game twice. That's right, replaying the game can result in a completely different experience. Enemies in one game may turn out to be allies in another, or you might not even meet the people you cross paths with in the first time round. Yes, the graphics are a bit ropey, and he runs and crouches like he's had an accident in his trousers, but if you can find it, give it a go, because I've never played a game quite like it. Plus it got cancelled, and so I'll probably never play a game quite like it again. But if these don't take your fancy, then pick up your trusty copy of Dragon Age Origins, whack some mods on it, make it look a little prettier, and then get lost in the worlds of dragons, demons and darkspawn.
More crazy? I thought we were all full up.
To see 5 hated characters in Mass Effect, click the links on screen now. Big welcome to That Cerberus Guy as the newest channel member, and thank you to him, Nerdy Dude and all the supporters, and to you for watching. And I'll see you next time. Commander.